Now more than ever, it's time to step up your takeaway coffee game. Watch this video to find out how. Hey everyone, welcome back to Artisti Coffee Roasters YouTube channel. Today, my video is very important for the coffee world and the environment that we're living in today. Right now, while we're filming, we're a few weeks into COVID and it's really affecting people's businesses in the way that they can trade, the hours they can do, but mostly just around that everyone's restricted to takeaway. Obviously, this is playing a big part in our lives right now, but it's something that if you really step up your game on it now, it's going to play out and be really helpful to increase profitability in that space and improve your business as a takeaway offering. So I've just got some tips that we share with our wholesalers and that we share with people that come to us and ask us for advice on how to improve their takeaway coffee offering. So I'm at our POS, and this person really holds a lot of responsibility around making sure that the process that getting the coffee to the barista is as smooth as possible. And we actually recommend a kind of different scenario here is to slow down this process, which will help to save the barista from being overwhelmed with orders. So at this point, it's really crucial to get your processes correct, and there's a few things you can do there. You want to make sure that when they order their coffee, it can easily get from the person taking the order to the coffee machine so the barista can grind that coffee, make that espresso shot, steam the milk, put it on a bench, and that customer can easily access and pick up that coffee on their way out the door without having any crossover themselves with customers coming in and out the door. You want to make sure your workflow is working for everyone from the barista to the other staff, including the customers. My first tip for you would definitely be to start writing on the side of your cups. Now we see lots of different accounts doing lots of different variations of how to write a takeaway order on a cup or a lid. I see people writing on them on the bottom of them, but then the barista grabs that cup and they're having to look under the cup to see what the order is. Flat white, 2 sugars. The goal with writing on the cup is to get the cup that has the coffee in it all the way through the line without losing track of that particular order. You're not having to look on the bottom to check what it is. You're able to see what's written clearly on the side of the cup to see what the order is. And we're also not putting the order on the lid. So the reason that we don't put the order on the lid is obviously it's not connected to the cup of coffee, and there can be a disconnection between whose order it is in the lid versus what the shot is in the cup and what milk goes into that. A lot of confusion. You'll also find that if you are sliding your cups along the top of a coffee machine or on a bench and they're upside down, you'll get a lot of dirt and build up around that from be it coffee grinds or chocolate or whatever it is. You're sliding that across the bench, same concept with a lid. If you're sliding that across the bench and you're putting that on there, you're potentially putting that waste inside that cup of coffee. So ideally, we want to come in, customer comes in and places their order. They're gonna grab a strong latte on soy. We want to be writing their full order clearly down the cup. We want to add their name as well. It's a really nice touch for the customer experience to make sure that when their coffee gets to the end of the line, that barista can call out their coffee by their name. Tim, latte for Tim. Something else that's really important, not just for your customer service, but also for your barista and all of your staff to be on the same page, is to make sure that you have standardized shorthand language to write on all of your cups so that everyone's clear about what means what, how do I write certain coffees, and there's no confusion down the line at all. I'm going to attach a PDF that we've created that we've shared with our wholesalers, and it's been an incremental part of making sure that everyone's on the same page, everyone's writing the same thing, and no confusion is made across any of your staff. We'll put a link to that below and you can download that PDF, print it out, and introduce it to your cafe tomorrow. When you are putting those orders on the coffee machine for the barista, there's little things that can be helpful, just like placing the order upright so they can read it and they can look down the line and see what they've got coming. Much like if you've got a large stack of orders, and this is a big part of takeaway coffee, is to get a good reputation for being able to handle large orders. If you can't do a lot of coffees at a time, people might learn that about you and they might, not go to you if they have a large order. If you've got a large stack of orders, we'd recommend putting that whole stack up in line all together so the barista can make the call as to how that they will tackle that order. We recently released a video that is all about doing those large orders. The video explains how coffees degrade over time and what's the best order to make those coffees in. My next tip for you stays at the bench and stays in the responsibility of the person behind the counter. I can actually take this order and I can do a little bit of work for the barista while I'm here. So you've ordered your soy latte, be it 1 sugar. I can have sugars on the bench and I can put that sugar in for you so the barista has one less thing to deal with in the order. Much like if you order a syrup, I can pump that syrup in at this point. It means that your customer is also getting to see how much sugar you put in, making sure you're putting the right syrup in, and it kind of eliminates some of the errors that can happen down the process line. So if you actually take some of the workload off the barista, it means they can focus on making sure that they're as fast as they can possibly be on steaming milk, doing their shots, but also retaining quality in that shot. If they're spending a lot of time juggling around with syrups and sugars, they're going to be limited to the amount of time they could focus on pulling the best shots. So we want to make sure that we let them have as much attention and time as they can on making the best cup of coffee, and you could be the most helpful person at the till. So far I've talked a lot about taking the order and what's the best way to take that order from this point, but there's a huge part of taking the order that is also a part of the workflow and layout of your cafe. If you're not sure about whether your workflow or layout works, we have another video that we'll put a link to below that Luke's gone through a cafe that we were building at the time, and we're helping them with their floor plan and their layout so they could understand the crossovers they would have. You want to make sure that when they order their coffee, it can easily get from the person taking the order to the coffee machine so the barista can grind that coffee, make that espresso shot, steam the milk, put it on a bench, and that customer can easily access and pick up that coffee on their way out the door without having any crossover themselves with customers coming in and out the door. You want to make sure your workflow is working for everyone from the barista to the other staff, including the customers. If you've got a bit of confusion in your workflow and your layout, you'll actually find that you're dancing around and everyone's kind of crossing paths, and that's going to influence and affect the way that you can serve takeaway coffee better and slow down the process. The next step is that if you start to get that busy, let's look at upskilling your staff. Let's look at having a staff member that can step in when you're busy, or potentially having to, at the moment with COVID, we're able to rehire staff, or you want to retain the staff you've got. Maybe you can train them, or your barista can train them on how to pull shots, so they can step in and they can pull shots for you while you're in those peak periods. You will always need someone on the machine that knows what they're looking for in a shot, tasting the coffee, and they want to make sure that at the end of the day that coffee is going out the door at the expectation your customers have. So upskilling yourself as a business owner or as a barista is going to be really helpful at this time and forevermore. So these are just some of the tips that we share with our wholesalers and people looking for advice on how to up their game on their takeaway coffee. If you're quiet, now's the time. You've got to take action on the downtime that you've got is really going to prepare you for when it ramps back up and you want to come out with a blast and really set the scene for the next few years of preparing great takeaway coffee. If you found this video useful, if you have any other questions, put your comments down below, hit the bell icon, subscribe to our channel and like this video, and we'll see you next time. Hit the bell, subscribe to our channel, like this video. We'll see you next time. Anything else? That makes sense?